Hey y'all. Hey y'all, welcome back to Discus Talk. Um, I'm sure you probably didn't like that short video. It wasn't meant to be a nice one. So um, I hope it helped a little bit to describe what goes on in the tank and that sort of thing. Hi Ben, Francis, welcome back. Kim was rushing me to start this, y'all. She made me late. Hi Rob, Bob, how are you? Hopefully good. Hopefully good. Anyways, today we're going to talk about the two bacterial infections that you just saw in the video. The first one was Columnaris, that's a flavobacterium. And the second one was Aeromonas. And Aeromonas, we get really, there are three that commonly show up in aquariums, and that's the Veroni, the Hydrophila, and the Salmonacida. In the spring this year, when the temperature started getting warmer outside, we saw quite a few extra cases, if you will, of columnaris pop up. And so I've been kind of concerned about it. In the video, you see some of the symptoms. It doesn't happen that often in discus, which is kind of surprising. Hi, Roger. Because, we keep such clean tanks. You have to with discus, but things happen, something's missed or whatever, and you get an infection. Columnaris and Aeromonas have the capability of wiping an entire tank in a very short period of time. The first case of Columnaris that I ran across this year actually presented no symptoms. The fish were just dying. There was no rhyme or reason to it. And I think about 6 days into an antiseptic treatment that I had him working on, one of the fish finally displayed symptoms of columnaris, and we were able to change the treatment over to an actual antibiotic. And I think we ended up saving most of the rest of his fish after that. And I've seen, 5 or 6 cases of that in a relatively short period of time this year. In the past week, Aeromonas has popped up again. And Aeromonas is one of my dreaded bacteria because I've actually seen it firsthand. It took one fish, and that was more than enough for me. That was actually the reason that we went from a fully scaped tank to a bare bottom, bare minimum. With our high pH, the higher your pH, the more bacteria load you're going to be able to grow in your tank. So that's good bacteria and bad bacteria. So we gave them less room, less spaces to hide, less spaces to grow by removing the substrate, removing, the wood and all that. So that's how we are fighting it. You do not have to do that. We went the extreme route because of the high pH. I see people all the time, they pop up with it. Columnaris, it doesn't cause the open wounds like the Aeromonas does. If it's in a tank that's not so clean, you end up with almost like a fungusy look. It'll get fuzzy on it, and people will generally treat for a fungus and end up losing the fish because they don't realize that that's actually Columnaris. And that one is actually easy to treat. I've been watching and checking the antibiotic resistance on Columnaris. It's actually not that bad. Oxytetracycline is fairly easy to keep in stock, and that's what we would use for Columnaris. And I've seen it too. We had a case of it pop up, and because our water's so clean, we didn't get the fungusy, fuzzy look. It actually presented sort of like hole in the head, except it was around the gill area. And I actually thought it was hole in the head at first, and metronidazole wasn't doing it. And then it occurred to me that it was probably Columnaris, and we treated, and it was fine. So you do kind of have to watch. You kind of need to know what you're looking for. That was the reason that I went ahead and started with that short video at the beginning. And those who missed the video can always go back and watch that. It's a 2-minute video, and it gives you some examples of both Columnaris and some examples of Aeromonas. Keep in mind, warm water temperatures are prime places for bacteria to grow. Our discus need that warm water to live in. So you're always going to have that. That's one of the main reasons that you really need to do a lot of water changes. You need to keep your fish in good, clean water. Something else to do is wipe your glass when you're doing your water changes. Wipe your glass down. If you can, if you have decorations in there, try to wipe your decorations. You can't really do that with wood. You can wipe your heater down, wipe your hoses down, that sort of thing. Just keep as little as possible of the bacteria in the tank. Try to get some of that out. That is a big, big thing. Make sure that your gravel, your sand, whatever you're using is getting vacuumed. We don't recommend gravel, but make sure that you're vacuuming your substrate really, really well, because they do colonize there. The bacteria will colonize the substrate. Everybody talks about the beneficial bacteria living in the substrate and not having substrate. You're not going to have that beneficial bacteria. That's not correct. Most of your beneficial bacteria is in your canisters, in your filtration. But what grows in your substrate is your good bacteria and your bad bacteria that feeds off of any leftover foods and things like that in the gravel. So that's definitely something that needs to be cleaned out. Talk a little bit about Columnaris. Columnaris is nasty, but it is very treatable. Then I wanted to talk about it first and get it out of the way because Aeromonas is a totally different horse. Aeromonas is extremely bad. It can go from, and I just was talking to somebody in the group about this earlier. It can go from a small pimple or an abscess, if you will, to a full body wound in 12 to 24 hours. The fish can be dead in 24 to 48 hours. The problem with Aeromonas is it is a superbug. There are very few treatments that will actually treat Aeromonas anymore. It was nitrofurazone. The one case that we had, I treated with nitrofurazone and salt, and it took 7 days for her to die, but she did die. I've had exactly one case of Aeromonas that I was helping somebody with that I've done I'm going to be honest, I've probably helped close to 100 people that have had Aeromonas. From that 100 people, I've seen one fish survive, and it was with high dosage of nitrofurazone and high doses of salt. And the fish died 3 weeks later from Marlin disease, that I honestly think was from the medication itself, or from the, well, I don't think it was from the salt. I think it was from the high dosages of medication. We did get the Aeromonas gone, but what good is curing it of the Aeromonas if the treatment is going to kill the fish? There is a couple of things I want to talk about with that. There's a few medications that I want to say they're proven to work. One of them is enrofloxacin. And up until about 2 months ago, we were unable to get that in the fish hobby. We are able to get enrofloxacin now. It's available through Everything Aquatic, and I'm going to do some checking around and see if it's available anywhere else. I don't know at this point if it is. It is still proven to work. I think it's got a resistance of like 15%, which is fairly low. The last study that came out, which was in January, I want to say in January, nitrofurazone had a 53 or 54% resistance. That is high. So nitrofurazone in most cases is not going to work anymore. So we really have to be careful with the medications. As these bacteria become resistant, it's going to be very hard to find a new medication that can replace it. So I did mention the enrofloxacin. I don't want people running out and using it for everything else. If you want to keep enrofloxacin on hand for Aeromonas, please do. Go ahead and order it, get it in stock, get it on your shelf. I have it on my shelf. I will not use it for anything except Aeromonas bacterial infections, because I do not want to create superbugs. I don't want to underdose it and there be Aeromonas bacteria in the tank. We've underdosed it. The Aeromonas has become resistant to it, and then you can't cure Aeromonas anymore. Another product that I want to talk about, I am not going to recommend it, but it will work on Aeromonas, and that is called Bacticide 1. It can be ordered several places in the US. I don't know if it's available in Canada. Canada's very hard to get medicine up there. I really feel bad for you guys. I think it is available in the UK, but I can't swear to that. And my UK person, I don't think is here. But Bacticide 1, I suspect that I know what the ingredients are. And if it is the ingredients that I think it is, it will work on Aeromonas. It will also work on Columnaris. The reason I don't recommend it is because the company keeps it a secret what's in it. I don't feel like I can recommend something I don't know if it's safe or not safe. So I'm not going to recommend it, but I do know that it does work. The third option, and this is for my people that are in Australia. I know you guys are asleep right now because it's what, 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning. There's tetracycline that you can get. That helps. If the Aeromonas is an abscess, it has not opened and ruptured into a wound, you can try a PP treatment. I don't recommend PP either, but that is an option for people in Australia. It is not an antibiotic. It will not cure it, but it may kill enough of the bacteria in the water for that period of time that it may make a difference. Something else I recommend with these infections is using salt in high doses, about 5 tablespoons per 10 gallons of water. The salt always helps. It also has a healing effect to help with the healing process. Honestly, if you have it, you're unsure what to do, or you think you have it, you can always shoot me a message. I researched Aeromonas for a very long time because of having it myself and not at the time not knowing what it was. And it's a scary one. I really hate that infection. But I'm always here for questions about Aeromonas. Absolutely. I really don't have a whole lot other to talk about on that. I'm hoping that helps somebody to learn a little bit anyway on the two bacterial infections. Now, I put up a challenge in Simply Discus yesterday, and I got some really, really good responses. So we're gonna go through that real quick. My challenge was that I wanted anybody, to show me a research paper that shows that ick can be cured with heat treatment. Because I see all the time people say, oh, that's just ick, just turn the heat up, it'll kill it. So my challenge was to find me a scientific research paper or a paper written by a researcher that shows me where it says that heat treatment will cure ick. Well, this is what I got. I'm going to show you guys this. Let me open it real quick. I've got a little bit too many windows open at the moment. Just one. Oh, not that one. This one. And I'm only going to show you guys just the part that pertains to the heat treatment for ick. Because that's really, everything else is the same across the board on this stuff. I'm sorry, I've been sick for a week. I'm just getting over a cold. So if you guys see me sniffling and stuff, that's what's going on. All right. This is what was brought to my attention. Okay. And I've seen this paper before. This paper was written by Dr. Ruth Floyd and Dr. Peggy. I can't remember Peggy's last name. But you can see right here, it says the infected juvenile termites will be killed while the water temperature is at 90 degrees. Okay. And it says when the temperatures drop back down to 70 degrees, the adults will fall off of the fish to reproduce. As the young emerge, 48 hours later, the temperature is again raised to 90 degrees. So that sounds like a cure, right? Nigel, my friend, I have a quick question. Oh, never mind. You already answered it. Thank you for answering that question. Bacticide is not available in the UK. I apologize to my UK people. Okay. Let me know how that comes out, Nigel. Okay. You see, that sounds like a cure, right? Back to where we were. Here is my question for you. How easy would it be for you to raise the temperature on a discus tank to 90? That's pretty simple, right? Okay, how easy is it to drop the temperature of the discus tank by 70 degrees? How fast would that happen? I mean, that's not going to be, that's not going to be something that you can do really quick. Okay, so they drop off. Once you get down there finally to the 70 degrees for 48 hours, they drop off and they reproduce. Discus are not happy at 70 degrees. Okay, so you've got, once they've been down there for 48, you've got to bring that temperature back up to 90 degrees. And how long does that take? I mean, that's going to take, I would guess at least 10 hours, 12 hours to get that temperature back up to 90 degrees. And then you have to leave it there for another 48 hours or another 24 hours, sorry. But here's the problem with that. This paper was written by Dr. Floyd, and it was posted in 2012. Okay. And there was a word used in here, and that word was not cure. That word was control. Okay. There was another paper that was given to me. Actually, no, I think this one, the other one that was given to me was actually written in 1981. And honestly, that paper and the subsequent events that unfolded were what got me started in research, because I had black mollies that I was breeding. I had multiple types of mollies I was breeding at the time, and I had an egg. And everybody kept saying, do this heat treatment, turn the heat up, and the egg will die and it won't come back and all that. So I did everything that they told me to do, turn the heat up, got the white spots gone, left it there for, I can't remember how long. And when I turned the temperature back down, within a week, they were all covered again. And I ended up, before it was over with, I ended up taking my mollies into brackish water to cure that, because the heat treatment wasn't working. And have I raised parents without? No, I have not done that. But anyway, so that got me doing my research, and the brackish water cured my egg. But in doing the research, I found a lot of discrepancies in some of the treatments. And one of those discrepancies, let me see if I can find it. I've got it here somewhere. Here it is. Was this one. And this is a discrepancy between the paper that was written in 1981 and the paper that we just read. And it says that you have to turn the temperature up to 90 for 24 hours, turn it down to 70 for 48 hours so that they'll fall off and reproduce. But right here, it tells you Theropods produce at a pH of 8 and exposed to different pH values, which may be sufficient time for 1 hour. 1 hour, which is sufficient time for the parasite to locate and infect new hosts. So in the time that it takes that dropped off at 70 degrees. And in the time that it takes you to get to 90 degrees to kill the juveniles, that's a lot of 1 hours that have already passed for them to find a host. So doing that method is not a cure. It's just a way to control it in the aquarium. That is the reason that the word control was used when Dr. Floyd was talking about that. All right, and it did not pop up my stuff, I think. I apologize for that, guys. My share is not working properly, I think. Let me look and see if I can get that to come back up. No. Let's see. Stop share. Share screen. Okay. Did you guys see this one? This is the one that talks about the theropods actually surviving for an hour, being long enough for them to locate a new fish. I hope you guys are seeing that. Well, okay. We're going to stop sharing. And some of this stuff I'm going to be posting on Simply, where I posted the question for it. That way everybody can see it, because I really don't think that my share screen was working properly. You're very welcome, Dustin. Welcome to the live stream. Guys, if I'm looking down, I'm looking for questions. So if anybody has any, just, pop them up there. I'm hoping that you guys kind of understood when they rewrote, and Florida has rewritten that paper that I showed you. It was rewritten by Dr. Floyd and Dr. Young, and they actually took that whole section about the heat treatment completely out of it. Okay, thanks, Kim. They took the heat treatment out of that special consideration section where they had it. They took that out in 2018 because the information is not going to work. That what they had in there was not going to work, and they realized that. I'm hoping that people will realize that if I do a challenge or I ask a question, I'm not, trying to actually prove anybody wrong. What I'm trying to do is encourage people to do research. The more you do research, the more you learn. I still learn stuff every day. The medication stuff, where I was talking about, Aeromonas being a superbug. I wouldn't know that if I wasn't doing the research. I wouldn't know that nitrofurazone, that they're immune, that they're resistant to the nitrofurazone by such a percentage if I didn't continue to do the research on it. There's so much to know that people don't realize. You get to a point in the hobby that you know how to cycle the tank, you know how to treat a fish for ick and minor fungal infections or whatever, and then you're an expert and you just quit looking. And that's not the way that works. You have to keep looking. You have to keep researching and keep learning, because everything changes over time. Nematodes. Yeah, I use a dewormer for nematodes and for cestodes and for trematodes. That's a good question. Probably, well, there's a couple of different treatments. I'm not looking a treatment up, just so you know. But sorry, I got somebody else doing something too. Levamisole is usually my choice. I do levamisole for a 24-hour treatment, repeating on day 5 and day 13 is usually what I recommend on that. Sorry, I got somebody else messaging me now. People recommend the fenbendazole. I don't recommend the fenbendazole because fenbendazole needs to be in food, not in the water column. It is dangerous in the water column. It can cause some serious issues. The other one that can be used is flubendazole. There has in the past been question about whether flubendazole is safe for fish or safe for discus and angelfish. So I don't really, I recommended it. I have recommended it. And if you're unsure of the worms, that's probably your best bet, would be the flubendazole, which that would be in your Wormer Plus and stuff like that. Any other questions today? Kim, I have never heard of you keeping your mouth shut. I don't think it'll happen. Y'all, Kim got kicked out of her group today. She got in trouble. I think it's funny. All right, guys. Well, if you guys don't have any questions for me, then I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Oh, wait a minute. Externally on a 9-inch male, I rescued it up. Are you talking about flukes? Or are you talking about anchor worms? I can't help you with that if I can't see it. That's the thing. I've never heard of a discus actually having anchor worms. I keep waiting to find one of those, but I haven't found one yet. Hey, Kim, you did that yourself. I want to hear it. Of course, I was egging you on, but I ain't gonna lie. Dustin, I'm trying to get a good grasp on what you're talking about. You've got body flukes and you've got anchor worms. Anchor worms have a forked tail. The flukes don't have that. My fish love Picari bloodworms. My fish love all bloodworms. Absolutely, all bloodworms. They'll eat them. Right now, I've got a different, I think it's omega-1 bloodworms that I'm feeding. They like them. They're long, but I don't like the fact that they're so big. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Send me a picture of it. Yeah. Send me a picture of it, Dustin. I'll take a look. I'm curious. And I wouldn't buy, if their fish have worms on the outside of them, I wouldn't buy any more from that store. That is so weird. Yeah, send me a picture. We're gonna have to look at that. Because anchor worms are a little bit hard to treat. And I've never heard of nematodes being attached to the outside. Nematodes are internal worms for the most part. Y'all, I found something interesting. uh, no. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, Nigel. I've never heard of that. I do not deworm my fish. Once they come in, I do quarantine. I deworm them in quarantine and I don't deworm them again. And I have sent fish off for necropsy and I haven't found, they don't have any worms. And I feed, all of mine get fed bloodworms. Some of my other fish get fed bloodworms. So. I didn't clear. I've never heard of that. That's interesting. Yeah, definitely send me a picture of that. I want to see it. Okay. What else we got going on, guys? I'm just going to turn this into a little question and answer session if you guys want to, for a little while. I haven't done one in a while, mainly because people don't ask questions and my phone just turned around and I can't see the chat anymore. Oh, there it is. Well, most of the dots in discus are not egg. Triggering pairs to breed, you can lower the water temperature and slowly bring it back up. That simulates the rainy season in the rainforest. Sometimes that helps. Dim the lights. You can use Robios tea to tan the water a little. You can also divide a tank and put another pair on the other side. Sometimes that will trigger them to breed. There's quite a few, actually, different ways you can trigger them. Kim, you can give tips for breeding. How about that? You got more fish than I do. Yeah, Dustin, I'm definitely interested in what you've got going on. So definitely send me a picture of what you've got. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? There is none. There is no cure for head standing at this time. I am about to try a different treatment with one that I have. And if it's successful, I will let you know. Kim, it's so easy to make them stop breeding. You just put the females in one tank and the males in the other tank. No problem. The males might kill each other. Within two, that solves the problem, right? I'm a heifer today. Guys, I think I'm going to sign off for today. I'm considering doing one next weekend, and it may be more of an open question and answer thing. I may have a talk, same as I did this time. White pus on the forehead is an infection that is hole in the head. Definitely. Treat it the same as you would hole in the head. No, I honestly don't know that metronidazole is even needed for that, though. I think clean water and salt will probably be enough for most cases. Yes, Kim, you need more tanks and you need to bring some of the fish down here. I've already spoken to you about that. Since I'm not able to get up there right now, you can bring them down here. I got to get Bob. Bob has got beautiful, beautiful fish growing. I'm going to tell you, Bob Fryer has got some amazing fish, and he needs to bring me some of them. And of course, Carrie, who is not watching today, I don't think. Carrie Strong has some beautiful fish growing, and he needs to bring me some down here too. You're very welcome, Crown. Welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you here before, so welcome. Some of my regulars are not even here today. I'm kind of disappointed, but I was very glad that Nigel's here. I need to get Nigel on here so he and I can discuss medications and treatment options in the UK at some point. They're in the same boat that Canada's in. And I know we've talked about Canada before. Canada can't get anything. Awesome, Bob. Kim, you're overflowing with discus. You don't need any more. At least not until you bring me some. Hi, Matthew. How's it going? Came in a little late. We're about to sign off here, but I think there's a lot of useful information for everybody to go back and look at later. Okay. Well, welcome to the stream. I mean, everybody's welcome. I appreciate everybody that likes and subscribes because we sure do need it. All the subscriptions we can get. I got to get enough subscriptions to keep the channel going, and we still don't have that. We're still working on that. Yeah, Kim, do you have a YouTube channel? Okay, I wanted to show you guys this because I didn't think about it before. This is the enrofloxacin, and that's backwards. Why is that backwards? Y'all see it? Well, that's weird. It's showing it backwards. The enrofloxacin, it's available through Everything Aquatic. That is the one I was talking about to keep, but not to use it for anything except Aeromonas, because we do not want to cause any more resistance, as long as we've got a medication that works. Oh, I did forget to mention something. There was a research study done, and this was also released this year, and I'm trying to find it right now, but there is another bacteria, and it is, I think, Bacillus subtilis is, I think, the name of it, and I have to look it up. I know it's in one of these books. But it has been shown that if you add this to the food of the discus, this bacteria will actually keep the Aeromonas from causing damage in the fish. And that was kind of surprising. So I'm looking at getting that to put into my discus food. We make our own beef heart, so we're talking about putting this other bacteria in in case we do have Aeromonas in the water so that it's not affecting the discus. So that was also a very interesting thing that I wanted to bring up. And that one is Bacillus subtilis. I don't know if it's 2 L's or 1 L, but this is the name of it. They went ahead and typed it in. You can't see it. What do you see? Okay. The enrofloxacin. That's the enrofloxacin. Oh, you can see it. Okay. Okay. Crown, we've got quite a few videos that are we already done. There's a lot of information from everything from breeding to raising fry, choosing discus, bacteria in the aquarium, and that sort of thing. This one's a little bit different because I'm actually speaking about specific bacterial infections. And the reason that I'm doing this one is simply because we're seeing a lot larger number of infections this year in these two bacteria. So I wanted to get more information out on these two. But if you make your own food, if you can find that Bacillus subtilis, I think that is something that we need to look at starting to add into some of the homemade discus foods. Yes, Kim, I will, and you will definitely. I'm probably going to drag your butt up here next week because I'm thinking about having one next weekend again. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to go help my husband finish up these water changes he's doing. I figured up our tanks. We're at about 1,500 gallons at this point, and he's out there doing water changes. So I'm going to go help him. But you guys all have a great day, and if you have any questions, most of the discus groups you'll find me. Just post it in there and I'll answer. All right, guys. Well, you have a good day and we will see you next time. Bye, y'all.